not the case at all for me. I'm self-conscious. I don't really want you to be seeing that. I don't see any reason for it.
It's horrible.
As an actor, it's no good for you because I don't really want people, if they watch a movie, to be like, that's not him, because I saw him yesterday eating lunch and I know he's who he really is. It gets in the way of you being able to create like the illusion. It's really hard work to create the illusion that this person, like the character in The Accountant 2, for example, is a real person in a real circumstance. And in order to get the audience to care about it, to laugh, to find it exciting and empathize with the character, they have to suspend disbelief. That's harder if you're constantly being shown something else. So I think it gets in the way. It makes it harder to be an actor. And it's also not good for you. People start to resent you if they see you too much, no matter whether or not you're trying to be seen. No, I don't want to do this. And nonetheless, like I remember 20 years ago going through an experience where it was like, it feels to the world like I'm trying to shove myself in their face. And nobody likes that, right? Nobody wants to be the camera hog, the guy who's trying to get a bunch
new
of
Ben
attention.
Affleck shoes or whatever.
And I'm like, man, you just leave me alone, and I would be much happier. So in a way, it also can damage your career. Although I think I don't pretend to understand the nuances and of social media and how to manage that as a celebrity, so I don't do it. Some people do it really well, and I think there is a difference now because like. It's like if you have 100 million followers, that's actually valuable and meaningful in a different way. I'm kind of old school, I guess, in a way of seeing
medium school, I think.
I'm middle school. Yes, exactly. I am a 7th grader.
That's true. Oh, dude, yeah. I don't know if I graduated that. When some of them, they let you skip, I guess, if you're, depending on what county you're in.
Sometimes they hold you back.
Sometimes they hold you back, dude. Bro, the scariest thing was when like the dumb bully kid got held back, and you're like,
you had to stick around in your grade, and
dude,
you're like,
they were like,
man,
bro, I remember we got word.
The kid's 6'10" and in like 6th grade.
Dude, we got word that Damien had gotten held back, and people were like, oh, hell no, dude. We cannot do Damien again.
Hold me back, too.
We cannot do Damien again. Like, Damien has to go out to pasture wherever they put these kids that leave 6th grade. And they're like, Damien's coming back.
Finish their education at 6th grade.
Shut him down, dude. Tase him or something. Put a tire spike when he's leaving out of his driveway in the morning. But Damien cannot come back. But yeah, it is interesting, and it is kind of a sickness. I think a lot of people see that stuff as a sickness these days. But I do think it's fascinating about the suspension of disbelief, and that was something that used to be amazing about celebrities is like you never got to see them, right? And so you only got to see them, and actors, and you only got to see them on screen and in this way. And so you really envision them that way. I mean, you would almost be shocked if you saw a celebrity in person or an actor in person who didn't like Indiana Jones if he didn't have his hat and whip.
I was just going to say that. Is that when I was a kid, I kind of thought Harrison Ford was that guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's what Harrison Ford, I think he's probably the biggest, movie star of my childhood. And whether it was like, Indiana Jones or Star Wars, like he was the guy. And I kind of thought he was that guy. And so it's a little weird to see that guy just like, in his sneakers and his kind of raincoat walking around Brentwood. It's sort of like, of course it's disappointing or it's disillusioning or something because you have this thing in your mind that's people went to Steven Spielberg and George Lucas went to a whole, use all their talent, went to a bunch of work to make this dude look like Indiana Jones and Han Solo. And I think what I've seen now is like, I actually don't even want to see like the actors that I really like. I don't want to go on your social because I don't want to know what you had for lunch because it just makes it harder for me to get into like what you're doing.
I love that. And I think that is a real directorial way to think, I think. I mean, I can see that in your brain. I mean, I'm just a judge. I'm just a guy judging you. They just met in a room somewhere. But I never thought about that's how it is. That, you want them kind of, Hollywood has almost bitten its own tail in that way because there's this underlying like valueless current really that's kind of like a very cheap currency.
It's Hollywood. It's Hollywood sort of adjacent, which is this side of media culture that profits from and circles, and there's a symbiotic relationship between Hollywood and obviously like here I am promoting my movie and running around, and now I don't want to go on like a tabloid and do that or whatever it is, but that becomes part of that culture too. And then you have like any interview show or all these, and you're right, in a sense it is Hollywood, because if you do a movie at Universal, you know, you'll see that person's doing all NBC, Comcast owned, you know, talk shows and appearances, right? Like it's not a coincidence, because when they do their presentation in the boardroom for Comcast to their shareholders, they go, look, we make these movies, we spend a lot of money, and then we get the stars and we plug them into all of our other shows that we also own. And there's a lot of synergy, so on and so forth. The idea though is like, okay, that's a kind of a tax that you end up sort of paying on your sort of life and the one hand, and on this thing that you're trying to build, which is something that connects with people and moves them, and that they want to go out to a fucking movie theater and pay good money to see. And it makes it a little bit harder than to have to kind of go around and do all that other stuff and be like, okay, well, that's not who I really am. And and to try to sort of be interesting and relevant in some other way that isn't really what you kind of even wanted to do. And so you're right. It's sort of part Hollywood and also kind of Hollywood adjacent. And it does eat its tail
in a way, because the acting and the creation, it's like looking at the beauty of a lake, right? It's like, this is picturesque, and this is like how they meant the waves to look, and there's a current here, and there's an inflow and outflow, and something landed in the water over here and left a ripple, and something else this is the B story, and there's a ripple. But then it's all this stuff under it, and it's almost starting to like kind of drain its own lake in a way.
It's a good metaphor, yeah. Like the movie as the kind of lake, and the underneath of what's both what goes into it and what happens behind the scenes, and also what it takes. Same thing. And it does kind of like, it's interesting, like, if you overtax it, it lowers the lake, and all of a sudden it doesn't look like a beautiful lake. It starts to look like the low country marsh, and it pulls down. You start to see all the little black mud around the edges and the muck. And that's, I don't know how to kind of balance that. But as a director, you know, you're right. Like, I would say that's the principal way I've always kind of looked at this stuff. So it used to be that you